Hi, welcome to this part of the video where we are looking at Amazon Lambda 30 plus thumb rules. These are absolute certification essentials. Now, see, this channel is totally dedicated to help you clear cloud certifications, so please subscribe it. These thumb rules will help you clear these three certification exams. This is the list of topic that we will cover now. We will start with what is Lambda. We will go through the concept of stateless. We will look at the resource models. We will look at how we can integrate Lambda with other services and provision concurrency, so on. See, Lambda is born itself because it is serverless. It is having a serverless architecture. You can run your code without provisioning or managing your servers. What it means is it a new technology that does not require servers? No, servers are required. AWS will manage it. You don't have to worry about it. So they call it serverless. You feel as if there is no server because you are not managing it. Now, you pay only for the compute time. The beauty of Lambda is you pay only for the compute time. There is no charge for when your code is not running. That means you will create your code and your code is there. Only when your code runs, like say it runs for 15 minutes, you will be charged, or you will not be charged if it doesn't run. And we all know it is serverless, and what it can do is it can you can set up your code to automatically trigger other AWS services, okay, or call it directly from web or mobile apps. So Lambda you can play around. It is similar to Azure Functions. In some cases, I'll give you a real life example where I was working for a client, and what we did is the client wanted to go as cheap as possible. They didn't want to pay a lot of money to manage their AWS services. So we at first factored some ETL products from standard ETL products, and then we explored Glue, but Glue was also a bit expensive if we don't mix and match with Lambda. Then we use Lambda wherever we can fit it. See, Lambda has a restriction of 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the Lambda code would die. So you cannot use it beyond 15 minutes. Like I explained, serverless computing means that you don't have to manage servers. So it is very easy to activate, run it, and get rid of it. So in the certification exam, whenever people are talking about serverless computing, think about Lambda. That's very important. And in these certification exams, you will get scenarios around all these four or five scenarios. See, what are the use cases? First is, suppose you have S3 buckets. Okay, we know that there is a life cycle. First, you can store it in S3 standard, then you can transition it to S3 standard IA, or and so on to Glacier. Now, if you want to know, like whenever my file gets transitioned, I should get an email. So that can be done through Lambda. Another thing, this point, you can respond to HTTP requests also. So there it will integrate with API gateway. You can consume events from SQS. Suppose you have SQS. We know what is SQS. If you don't know, visit the thumb rules of SQS. Okay, it is a middleware. Suppose it is getting data, a queue of data, and you want to massage the data a little bit just for 5-10 minutes, and then load it into Redshift. So don't use Glue then. Use Lambda, because you already know it is just light massaging which will not take more than 15 minutes. Then why do you waste money on Glue? Use Lambda. Lambda is cheaper than Glue. It is, nothing in world is cheaper than S3 and Lambda in the cloud world. Now you can also run the functions. You can schedule it using Lambda. No, you can schedule it and updates to Amazon DynamoDB table. So this we do a lot if we are creating a gaming application. I was working for a client, a Japanese client, and they have these gaming applications, and they use this. Like we were using this because whenever we make some sort of updates to the gaming application, the data. So since gaming applications are not stateless, they are stateful. That means wherever the game stopped, suppose you are playing and you stopped, so and you toggle your browser and come back, it should be starting from the same point in time. Similarly, for learning applications like Udemy or Coursera, so you if there were 10 chapters, you have done 2 chapters. The next time you log in, it should not start from chapter 1. You already did 2 chapters, so that state, that is called stateful, that state that you already did 2 chapters should be saved somewhere. So we use a combination of Lambda and DynamoDB to store that state. Remember, DynamoDB is only used to store that state. Whether it's a gaming application, it's a learning application, stateful applications cannot be designed without DynamoDB, and we have to use Lambda also. All five very important in the certification. See, Lambda supports all of these programming languages. This just an FYI. I didn't see question linked with this in the certification. So where do you store Lambda files? So if your code is ready, no, you have to store it in S3. And see, whenever you get such question, no, like is encryption possible? In AWS world, I saw encryption at rest, encryption at transit is possible in all services. So when you want to create your code and store it, you store it in S3 buckets. So the code we create is called Lambda function. One thing to remember is Lambda can be used. The programming model is stateless, but uh, your code access data by calling another web service, that is stateful. Like I gave you an example before, a combination of DynamoDB and Lambda, or there is a similar combination for S3 and Lambda also. Suppose I'll give you one more example. You go to Amazon.com and you have just put 2 items in your bucket, shopping bucket, and you want to make the payment. Just when you are about to make the payment, your boss calls you and you close the browser. Next time when you open Amazon.com, you will see those 2 items in the bucket in the shopping queue, right, that you have added. That is stateful. See, the beauty of Lambda is your Lambda functions are running, no, it will automatically get monitored by Lambda, and it will also give you real-time metrics. And Lambda integrates with CloudWatch Logs, and you can create a log group for each Lambda function, and it also provides lifecycle event log entries. So it's basically what we are saying here is whatever Lambda is doing. See, whenever any service you are using, whatever you are doing, it gets logged. You have features to keep logging it. Here we are only talking about that whatever Lambda is doing, like it kicked off this Lambda function, and that Lambda function aborted after 5 minutes and it gave this error. Everything is in the log. Then you restarted that Lambda function and fixed the code and restarted. It worked. It executed the first, suppose, data initialization parameter and data massaging stuff. Everything is logged. So that only we are talking that CloudWatch Logs, it is a central repository. Whenever we were in the on-premises world, we used to create a common central repository to store the logs. Same concept, we do it in cloud using CloudWatch Logs. See, with EC2 instance, what we were doing, you have to scale. You have to configure auto-scaling. With Lambda, you just sleep, or Lambda will scale it automatically on your behalf. See, like I told, remember always, you will get this question in the exam. Okay, they will not directly give you that 15 minutes is a limit. They will give you a scenario and they will tell that my data job is running for 30 minutes, it runs for 30 minutes and I do this. So in that case, Lambda will not fit. Okay, you may have to go with glue. But sometimes they say it only takes 5 minutes to sync the job, etc. Then you can think of Lambda in that case. See, 5 minutes is 15 minutes is maximum, but you can also use 5 minutes, 8 minutes timeout. If you don't use, uh, 15 is the maximum limit. Beyond 15, it cannot. But you can control it. You can say any code that runs for more than 5 minutes about. You can do that. In that case, you have to choose a value 5. Anything between 1 second to 15 minutes. So this is strictly pay per use. Like we told, whatever compute is used, you pay for that. So here you have to save money by using compute savings plan. See, compute savings plan works with Lambda, EC2, and Fargate, 3 services I remember. So see, Lambda as such it is cheap, but some client may say, can you? They might push the envelope and say, can you go a bit lower? Then you tell them buy compute savings plan. There will be some commitment they will have to make. In the world, everything is a trade-off. You get one thing and you will lose the other thing. uh, Getting everything is very difficult. Only few people usually get everything. See, here we are clearly saying, elaborating the use case. You can select a function and associate it with notifications from S3 bucket. So whenever you are moving across the different storage class, like from S3 standard IA, you are say moving to some Glacier storage class, you will get an email now. In the exam, such scenarios will be given and they will tell which service should you use. That should be Lambda. And then I give you a stateful example. So this is just an elaboration. If you have to do that, like Amazon.com, and your bucket is stored, like it doesn't lose if you log off. So that is done by subscribing the Lambda function to the DynamoDB stream. This comes in the scenario. Now in AWS Solution Architect Associate and Professional, you will get question linked with this, the time-based aggregations. Okay, so you should go through this. There are 4 or 5 different types of time-based aggregation based on the windows. Please read it. I have not covered it here, but please read that, because you will be given a scenario and they will ask which type of window we should use. See, usually whenever code is running, it fails, suppose. Then again you restart, it fails. So how many times it is allowed? So the answer is 3. You see this 3 times. After your function will run 3 times. It will run, it got error, then it will again run, it got error, then it will again run, it got error, and then it will say if you exceed that source resource limit, so then it will stop and you will have to pitch in and fix your code bus. So this is one tool, SAM, that is serverless application model. So you can use this to deploy and manage Lambda functions. This will come in AWS Cloud Practitioner exam. See, we all are listening about DevOps. Can DevOps be possible? DevOps be possible? Yes, it is. If it is not possible on cloud, then where? And with serverless architecture and open source architecture, DevOps works the best. So here we have serverless application like Lambda. Use code pipeline and code deploy to mimic DevOps. Suppose you have 5 Lambda functions and you want to run these 5. First you have to run 1, then 3, then 4, then 2, then 5. use step functions. Then if you want to sequence the order, use step functions. This will step function quotients and step function with Lambda you will definitely get in AWS Cloud Practitioner. You will get a bigger quotient in AWS Solution Architect Associate exam. See, there is something called tracing. So you can use AWS X-ray if you want to trace. What tracing does is it will trace whatever your Lambda code is doing, etc. That and AWS X-ray is used for tracing. Please remember this. It will come in Cloud Practitioner exam. See, you can also build Lambda functions which connects to Amazon RDS. Okay, relational databases. How it connects is through the RDS proxy. You can do some data messaging and load it there. You can do all those kind of things. So RDS proxy only supports MySQL Aurora. If you know, RDS also has a Maria database and other databases, but it only supports this proxy. Will support MySQL and Aurora only. In Cloud Practitioner, they can ask this. See, we are always talking about Docker's containers. Is it possible for Lambda to containerize images? Yes, it is, and there is no additional charge for that. This can come in Solution Architect Associate and Solution Architect Professional. See, if you want to locally test your Lambda code on your laptop or on your premises, they can use this interface emulator. This is a service which is not very popular, but such questions related to service can be asked in Cloud Practitioner exam. See, there is a concept of provision concurrency. What it does is it keeps the functions hyper ready to respond in double-digit milliseconds. So, for example, gaming applications, so they want millisecond response time. So HyperId means like just like EC2 instances, so you warm it up and keep it so that whenever the need is, it is already warmed and it will immediately use it. Like car, you can warm and keep it so that immediately someone can come sit and go like that. And the use case for this concurrency, provision concurrency, like I told, gaming applications, mobile backends, interactive microservices, and so on. So suppose you want to integrate Lambda with AWS CloudWatch, so on. So you can do that using Lambda extensions. So this is important for Cloud Practitioner exam. They ask specifically about Lambda extensions. What are they? So you keep this concept. It will connect you to monitoring tools, observability tools, and security and governance tools. See, Lambda extension works with other partners also. These are all the list of partners. Okay. So you see Amazon Code Guru profile also is there, not Cloud Guru, Code Guru. See, there is something called Lambda Attach. This will come in AWS Cloud Practitioner primarily. In Solution Architect Associate also I have seen a scenario. See what Edge and Cloud, there are two concepts. So Lambda Edge is like it will run near to your location or on your location. For example, if Walmart's or Spencer's they want to identify real-time replenishment of their goods and they see something is getting out of stock, so they need to analyze that through the sensors and process that data inside the Spencer's location itself instead of sending it to cloud and then processing it and getting it back. That will be a very time consuming and high latency process. So what AWS has done is it has locations which are globally located, and these are edge locations. So instead of processing it on the cloud, it gets processed on these edge locations. There are also possibilities to set up edge locations near to the, for example, Spencer's, Walmart's in their premises if the volume need is very high. Now, Lambda, it provides high availability for both the service and for Lambda functions it operates. So you would not lose, and even if there is a loss of AZ, the other AZs would pick this up, just like another AWS service. Here also, high availability is built in. Now, if you want your Lambda function to operate and integrate with other services, then you should use IAM role. So in this part, we covered these many topics related to Lambda. To summarize, I would suggest it is a serverless computing software, and there are some restrictions like beyond 15 minutes it auto kills. You can monitor the Lambda functions. The scale up and scale down is done automatically. You do not have control over it. There are resource models. You can leverage savings plan to save the cost even further. Like I told, Lambda is dead cheap, but if you want to save cost even beyond that dead cheap, you can still achieve it using compute savings. You can containerize Lambda functions. Provision concurrency is available, and Lambda extensions and Edge can be utilized as well. Please subscribe to my channel for more such informative content. This brings us to the end of this part where we discussed Lambda. Do refer this playlist for other parts where we have discussed other Amazon services, and there are tons of videos on different playlists which are based around AWS and Azure certifications. Please remember these thumb rules. We are going through it to strengthen our preparation for these three certification exams. Stay tuned for more such interesting videos. See you in the next part.